before we get into the video, we're here to invite you to the Roleplay Relay 2.
You started so fast. Roleplay Relay 2 is coming November 25th from noon to 9 Eastern Standard Time here on youtube.com/nerdynightly or over at twitch.tv/nerdynightly. Gonna be on both places. Yeah. You can watch where you prefer your ads to hit you.
We're going to be raising money for an incredible charity, Cat for Kids, that helps the families of children with cancer. And so come on by. We're going to be fighting Santa Claus after the Stacy's Thanksgiving Day March.
Yes, the legally distinct Thanksgiving Day event that happens on the streets of Newark, a elf city in Felrosia, our world that I built for Relay 1 that is a giant yew tree that was found by an elf named Nork. So,
yeah, don't miss it. We're here for a good cause. We got a lot of incredible people involved, and it's going to be a really fun time.
That's right. There's 16 players in this game.
Wow.
You're probably wondering how. Santa Claus is going to kill a lot of people. It's going to be a carnage. It's going to be bloodbath, and we're doing it for the kids. So that it's okay?
Yeah.
Question mark?
It's all for the kids.
Come November 25th. And now enjoy this video/reaction/whatever we put this in front of. Ew! What's up, Internet? My name's Nerdy.
And I'm Clarus.
And this is Ahsoka, Episode 5. An episode that, based on some friends' texts, is very, very good.
Yeah.
We're watching it in the morning. They've been premiering these at Disney Plus. I just want to say thank you for putting these out at a reasonable hour at Tuesday. We haven't been able to watch them Tuesday nights, but the 9 p.m. thing, Eastern, it's very nice because my poor friends who keep trying to stay up till 3 a.m. to get their content done, it's rough.
It's
rough.
It's not a good time.
So thank you for the 9 p.m.s, but we're watching it the next day, and so we have been little ninjas, putting our little veils up and dodging spoilers in the waste as we head to fight Sightblinder.
Stop fucking doing that.
In the Blight.
Stop doing that. It's been out less than 24 hours. Stop fucking posting spoilers on Twitter. There is zero reason.
Zero reason.
Zero.
Stop. And other reaction channels.
That guy.
Other reaction channels. We love you. You know we love you. We're all friends. We're all bands of brothers, sisters, and non-binary siblings in this space of reaction content. Don't put the biggest spoiler. If you're going to be one of the channels that is on it,
right?
Real Rejects. No, Real Rejects is pretty good with their thumbnails. But if you're going to be one of those channels that's on it right away, don't put the biggest spoiler in your thumbnail from the episode, because I will unsubscribe from your channel.
Yeah.
I want to subscribe to you. I want to support you, but I don't want an hour after the episode's up to already see the spoilers in my YouTube feed.
Yeah.
Anyway, Ahsoka Episode 5, World Between Worlds. You know what that is?
No.
Only Dave Filoni does, but people will tell him he's wrong because they think that they know more than the guy who created the thing. So that's been an interesting week on Twitter. Let's watch this episode. If you want the full-length reaction, go to patreon.com/nerdynightly, because that's where we post things like that. But for now, you're here, so stay here, because we're about to begin.
The enemy has built a massive hyperspace ring. Do not let it escape.
Engage them.
Do not bring your child into a war zone.
Yeah, maybe. Seems like good advice.
Anakin.
So we're starting there, right?
No, it's that they're gonna wait till the last 5 minutes of the episode.
Oh my god.
It's gonna start with Sabine on the whatever that hoop-de-hoop is called.
Hoop-de-hoop?
Yeah, the hoop-de-hoop. Baylan Skull's hoop-de-hoop. Did we turn on the Disney nature documentary about the planet?
I guess so.
And this is the ancient ruins of...
Goddamn. They're really giving us the hardest ending with the previous episode to the slowest start to the following.
Yeah.
Do a full sweep and report back.
Copy. Over.
I think they might be
In a
on the
different
ship
galaxy.
that flew past you.
Yeah. No, stay inside. Jesus Christ. Actually, no. If ships were to if ships were to come by, they'd probably see a ship and bomb a ship. So.
That's fair.
We don't know this planet, so keep Chopper with you.
Come on, Chopper.
It'd be safer if Chopper's with you. He's not a chaotic demon at all.
That's why you're safer.
If they use this moment to have like Jason have like a force moment for the first time, I'll be very happy.
Is he gonna put the map back together? I love that he fits perfectly.
Oh, that was great. Now I just want to show that's just Jason and Chopper getting up to hijinks. Oh, that's so sad. Hu Yang meets all of the Jedi as children and then watches them all die.
Yeah.
Like, his existence is so sad.
Yeah.
That's so heartbreaking. 25,000 years of raising children to be warriors who die in battles across the galaxy. Hey. Okay, here we go. They didn't make us wait too long.
One is never too old to learn, Snips.
All right.
I really like hearing Hayden Christensen say Snips. There was actually like a long shot of blows there.
Yeah.
They actually held the camera on a couple of hits. Let's go.
Mom, listen.
I am.
No, listen to the waves.
General?
She's like, he probably has the force. I should pay attention to this.
Yeah.
What are we listening for?
Don't you hear it?
The waves
Hey.
crashing?
Kevin Kiner, we're trying to listen to the waves. Turn the music down a little bit. He's a little Jedi. Cool. I take it back. Use all the music you want. That was rad.
Jason has abilities. His father, Kanan Jarrus, was a Jedi.
Okay.
I mean, sure.
Okay.
I love that they threw that in there for people who haven't seen Rebels, you know?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That was nice. Oh, wow.
Okay.
Alright, sure.
I haven't taught you everything yet.
What the fuck?
Yeah, no kidding.
Looks so good.
I don't understand.
That's your problem.
Is that all I'll have to teach my own Padawan one day?
Do you even want a Padawan? You know, teaching's not all it's cracked up to be.
What if I want to stop fighting?
Then you'll die.
Okay.
Her being a child in war is tough in animation. It's even harder in live action.
You looked away at the wrong moment.
No, I saw it.
Yeah, no, it makes it more like, ugh.
That was harrowing.
Yep.
Okay, Star Wars is not fucking around this week.
We're gonna press our fuel reserves.
I appreciate that, Carson. Now widen your search.
Copy. Over.
I do love that Carson Teva has become the like most interesting man in the galaxy, in that he's there for everything.
Yeah.
So was her master.
Yeah? What was he like?
Intense.
Pretty low. As low as you can. Just go, Mom, please.
All right.
Get low. Get low, get low, get low.
Intense.
the like a lid change for him to be like, how do I describe Darth Vader?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Are those Mandalorians?
Yeah. No, this is season 7. You watched this season. This is the Siege of Mandalore.
Oh.
If they bring fucking Darth Maul into this, I will lose my shit.
I gave you a choice. Live or die.
Rad. Whoa! What a shot! Rad. Very, very cool. That does not look like a comfortable head position.
No, God, no, that would be.
She's gonna wake up and be like, god damn it. I slept wrong.
Yep. I also drowned.
That too.
I've been in a starship before.
A Jedi starship?
Come along.
Jason is all of us.
Yeah.
Starship? Will you train me?
No.
Do you know how to build a lightsaber?
Yes.
Will you teach me?
No.
Do it. For Ezra.
Uh-oh.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're a little late.
I don't think they're coming to help.
Uh-oh. I really want Hera to just be like, guys, I had some PTO saved up. I took a couple days off.
Yeah. Brought some friends.
And their military equipment. We just thought this would be a nice vacation planet.
Yeah.
They truly are becoming the Eagles of Star Wars.
I'm just surprised that, like, if Ezra, like, rode a whale out of the galaxy, why they didn't try riding a whale out of the galaxy.
I'm not sure I like this plan.
Yes, I would like to second that.
There's no other way. Without the map, we don't have the proper hyperspace coordinates.
So we're gonna dock on the whales.
I guess.
And then use the Force to be like, yo, whales. If you never watched Rebels, this show's gotta be the weirdest fucking Star Wars thing you've ever seen in your life.
I mean, yeah. I've seen like half of Rebels and I'm like, the fuck?
Dave Filoni was like, nah, if you don't watch my other shit, fuck you. This show is not for you.
Pretty much.
They look so good.
Yeah.
Up ahead, I think that is one of the larger ones.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that'll do.
That one's Greg.
We're just gonna
Greg's a good guy.
attack, like hit John, or
I have no idea. Maybe it's like when birds fly in a V for like aerodynamics, they'll just like get in its tailwind and like get pulled with it. Oh shit. Black Series, I need this one.
yeah, what a fit.
What an outfit. I do like that in her old age, Ahsoka has gotten rid of all the tight clothes and is purely a comfort lady now.
Mm-hmm.
She's in athleisure at all times.
Always.
Captain, the reason we are here is because there was no mission.
I respectfully disagree.
The Wind Machine is trying so hard to blow her mantra off here. The VFX team crushed that shot.
Yeah.
The like detailing in its eye.
Mm-hmm. I was worried about that. She's so happy.
Yeah. She's starting to feel like she's getting back to herself. You know what I mean? I like the direction this is going for her inner life.
Yeah.
Oh, is her not going with them? Okay. Probably a good thing. Jason doesn't need to go fight Sith this early on in his
Yeah.
Jedi
I
life.
have no
Not
idea.
even a youngling.
What?
No idea. We'll just see where it goes.
It could go anywhere.
I know. That's better than going nowhere.
Poor Hu Yang is like, I did not sign up for this.
Yeah, I don't know if it worked. Hope so.
Captain Gerard, this is General Syndulla. I'd move your fleet out of there if I were you.
Evasive maneuvers. They'd clear up their path.
Honestly, I would stay still. They seem to know how to get around you better than you know
Yeah.
how to get around them.
So are Pergles super rare or something?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Not in this show. They're on like every planet they go to, but
Yeah.
typically, yeah.
Sorry you can't make the trip.
That's all right. Jason's too young to travel between galaxies. May the Force be with you.
Let's go. All right, that was episode 5 of Ahsoka.
You nailed it.
Yeah, look, I'm gonna be honest. I think the pace at which we got here was a little lugubrious,
A little bit.
but I'm happy with where we're at.
Yeah, sure. I was kind of sitting here in the middle of this thinking like it feels like they made this show not because they had a specific story to tell, but because they just wanted to see these characters in live action in this point in their lives. And I'm not saying that as a negative or a knock on the show. Right? I think when you have a universe like this and you have characters like this that are so well beloved by many, 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 many people, you can do that. Like you absolutely can. It is within your power if you're like, look, I want to explore these characters more and bring a certain time in their life to live action as opposed to animation. Like that's fine. I just feel like the actual plot of the show has kind of come second to the moments that they want to have. If that makes sense.
I disagree only because having seen all of Rebels, this story felt inevitable. Like it felt like from the end of Rebels.
If you say so,
No, but I mean the plot of this. We have to go find Ezra. Like I have been waiting for them to tell this story for years, right? Because they had to at some point answer the question of like what the fuck happened at the end of that show.
I just mean it seems like the beats in the show are servicing. And like I said, this is not a negative thing. I want to there's
I hear
the
you.
beats are servicing the characters and not the plot, and that's okay. The plot is kind of whatever. They have a map. They gotta go do the thing. That seems like it isn't super important, and I think like for the first couple episodes of the show, I was like, okay, the plot is kind of like not important to me. Like I don't really care about it, and I don't think they're doing like maybe the best job of doing something new with it. But seeing this episode, I don't think the plot is what the focus of this show is. I think it is the characters and a character-driven story. And mileage may vary, right? Like that might be your cup of tea or not your cup of tea. And I think that it's just one of the many reasons that Ahsoka is going to be more of a polarizing property than maybe other Star Wars shows.
I have a feeling the next 2 episodes are going to have a lot of plot. Like, I feel like, as a whole, the show is going to have all of those elements. I do think, though, like, the first 3 episodes don't do very much momentum-wise.
It was the same in Andor, though. Like, it's really strange. Like, the first 2 episodes of Andor,
the first
we were
2
like,
episodes were a little... But by the end of the 3rd
You're
episode,
right.
we were like, okay, I get it. It took me 3 episodes of Andor to know what that show was. it took 2 episodes of this show to get to the point they were at the end of Rebels, right? And
Yes.
so that to me was a kind of an interesting decision. I think that ultimately the decision to introduce the Sabine Ahsoka master apprentice relationship has held back the show as a whole, because they've tried to skirt around what happened between them.
Yeah.
Because I think that it's going to be revealed at the end. But because it is this like weirdly off-screen relationship between characters that we've seen have a relationship on screen that is different, it made the first couple episodes of the show have to like
It's really clunky.
not be about the plot of finding Ezra, but be about, we have to introduce that these 2 people had this relationship, and Sabine has a different relationship with the Force than she did in the previous show.
And that's part of the main reason why this doesn't feel plot driven. It feels character driven.
But this episode
I
did.
don't know about that. The whole like Anakin thing, that felt very much like we want to like visit points in time and like say something about these characters that has nothing to do with finding Ezra.
No, but it has to do with the fact that she couldn't beat Balin's skull because she's being held back by the trauma of having walked away from Anakin, right? Like, the plot of this episode is that that Anakin shows up in the world between worlds, whether he's the father or whether he's Anakin, no matter what version of him he is in this, right? Or the son who's dead. It's very complicated, but the world between worlds is outside of time, so they could be alive technically there.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. That's Rebels stuff. This episode is about the fact that she lost the big fight at the end of the last episode. She failed.
Yeah.
Because the version of this character that we've seen through Mandalorian and through Book of Boba Fett and now here is... Was she in Book of Boba Fett? I can't even remember. Yeah, she was. When Din goes to Grogu, is that in Boba Fett? I fucking can't remember.
Mando season 2.5.
She has been this like very stoic, very like solid piece of granite, right, in her own plot. And it is holding her back from being able to win against Balin. It's holding her back from being able to be successful in the fight at the end of the last episode.
Yeah,
so she had to heal that trauma in order to move forward.
I'm just not really understanding why the things that we were shown healed her trauma. None of that seemed conducive to making her less like granite.
I think... Okay, maybe that wasn't the best. It was just it was the word that popped in my head.
No, but you're right. She's so stoic, and she's so like, to compare
Cold.
to Wheel of Time, it's like Rand being like, I have to be hard, I can't be like broken. And that's, you can't really go through your life. Like, I mean, you can, it seems miserable. But like, I just, like, the things that were shown in this episode were really cool and really like interesting dives into their characters. But I didn't see what it had to do with the softening that we kind of saw in Ahsoka there. Like, they didn't, like, line
because
up to
Anakin had to show Ahsoka, right, that he taught her everything he knew, and he made the choice to become the Red Blade, right? When they're on the final bridge at the final moment, and he's like, you have to choose to live or die, and he pulls out the Red Blade, and in the previous scene, he's saying, you are all of my knowledge. Right? You will become what I became if you go down this road of being this person. He shows her who she was at the beginning of her journey, where she's saying, do I have to only be a soldier? Is this the only thing I'm going to be?
Yeah, and I thought that the whole point of it was that he's wrong.
Right, but that's what he's saying when he pulls out the Red Blade. He's like, this is what you're going to become. You have to choose to live. Because you can choose to go to the dark side. You can choose to kill me here and you will become me. And when she doesn't kill him, she chooses life. She chooses to not go down the road that he went down, even though he taught her the lessons that would have led her down that path. And that's why when she comes out of that, she's in the white. That's why she goes back to being this... She takes off the gray that she's been wearing through this whole thing, this like muted color.
Yeah.
And she's in white for the rest of the episode because she saw the beginning of her journey before the war inflicted all of this trauma on her that led her to the version of herself at the Siege of Mandalore, who's this cold warrior. And then she comes out of the Siege of Mandalore to fight Darth Vader again, to fight the Red Blade on the bridge. And she realizes that he's trying to show her that she's headed in the direction that he headed down.
Yeah, I just, for
He's
me, like, those
points.
things, yeah, totally. And for me, those things just don't really aid the story of we have to go find Ezra in a different galaxy.
It's not about that right now. It is
that's what I'm
about
saying.
Ahsoka can't go there and win if she is this version of herself. If she is still held back by this trauma, if she's still this gray, muted version of herself.
Yeah.
If she goes there, if she gets there, she is going to fail, and she's going to become a Sith, and she's going to fall to the dark side because she's harboring all of these. She's harboring the trauma of the Clone Wars in a way that is holding her back.
Yeah, which is why it just feels like this show is very narrowed in on the characters. And like you said, we might get a lot more plot in the next couple episodes, but at this point in time, it does feel like the show is trying to explore those characters and these points in their lives and what led them here, as opposed to we have to go stop Thrawn. You know what I mean?
I think that it wouldn't feel as much like that if they hadn't had to do so much legwork with Sabine in the first few episodes. For sure. And that's why the accumulation of the first 5 episodes kind of has me feeling that way. Yeah.
And like I said, I also don't think that that's necessarily a negative. I think it is going to totally be however you feel about that. It's going to be completely subjective. Per person, right?
Yeah, but even in the I like this a lot, and I'm enjoying the show a lot, and every episode to me is better than the last episode, in my opinion. No. It keeps getting better.
I will agree with that.
I agree with you that I don't love the first couple of episodes.
Yeah.
Right? And I enjoyed watching them. I enjoyed having Star Wars back. I enjoyed Ahsoka back. I think on a rewatch, knowing where it's going, I'll enjoy them more.
Yeah.
But I do think the pacing of some of the dialogue is very slow. I think the editing is very choppy. Yeah. I think there are things that are holding this series back from being my favorite thing ever.
Yeah.
So I understand where you're coming from.
There, there is great stuff, and it's interesting. I was pardon me, I was before the next episode comes out, I was should I go and try and finish all of Rebels? Right. But I think us having different knowledge, different backgrounds, and different relationships to those series, and watching the show together, I think does provide an interesting perspective for people who have seen and have not seen Rebels and how that ends. So I decided, I was I'm going to watch Rebels after Ahsoka. But there is definitely still that beginning stuff that we talked about, where it feels like this is made for people who have seen Clone Wars and Rebels. And if you haven't, you can follow along. You're kind of there, but the journey doesn't mean as much to you. And I think losing a bit of that emotional impact is unfortunate.
I would argue that watching this without having seen Clone Wars and Rebels is almost a waste of time.
I mean...
You know what I mean? You've seen enough that at least you know who Ahsoka was.
That's true. If I'd never seen Clone Wars...
Yeah.
My only, touchstone for Ahsoka was Mandalorian, I'd be what the hell is going on right now?
Well, and, I think that if you've never seen any Rebels... The whales would be so weird.
True. I was at least introduced to the whales because I've seen up till season 2. Sorry,
episode 18,
20.
Right?
No, it was the Twilight Sons or Twin Sons or something.
You haven't seen that yet.
No, no, that's where I stopped.
So you've seen 20 episodes of season 2.
Yeah.
But so at least you understand the concept of the whales. But the if you've never seen Clone Wars or Rebels, and I guess they introduced, I think they did a smart thing in Mandalorian season 3 where Grogu looks out the window of the N1 and sees the whales in hyperspace.
Yeah.
So that the whales in hyperspace here isn't completely out of fucking left field.
Yeah, but if you don't remember little details like that...
Or if you just thought it was a cloud, right? I do think this show has not done the best job. I think that if you're going to have the whales be this important, I don't think the show has done the best job of showing... the whales. I think that this show, if I was doing this, if I wanted the whales to be such a big part of this, I would have started the show with the live action version of what happened on Lothal.
Yeah.
So that the audience would understand that Ezra and Thrawn, the Perles took... I don't want to ruin the scene for you. You'll watch it yourself.
Yeah. But I have already sussed
Jason
out what
says
happens.
what happens, right?
Yeah,
But I'm saying that the show should have started with that scene.
Yeah.
And it should and Sabine wakes up from remembering.
I was gonna say, if Sabine's there, she can remember, or Ahsoka is meditating on it, or something along those lines.
Just so that the audience doesn't have to wait till Jason has one line in episode 5 to be do you remember? It's the stories you told me about that thing. Just show that in live action right at the top so that your audience understands that the Perles hyperspace travel and that they're
Like,
the
I
ones who
would-
took Thrawn away, and that you show that scene from the perspective of it was really bad,
Yeah.
and if the Pergles hadn't done that, Thrawn was going to destroy Lothal.
Yeah, because you start the show with those high stakes
Mm-hmm.
and the loss of a character, and immediately you know what this show is going to be about. And yeah, I think that there was not enough setup of that. I would have cut kind of the Sabine Ahsoka training thing. I honestly, that did nothing for me. I would much rather have had that.
I also don't need Sabine to be a Jedi. I was fine with her being a Mandalorian who wields the Darksaber. Like, I was fine with her, like, she was her own thing, and I think that this show is trying to slot her into another thing when she kind of has her own skill set. But I'm fine with the direction they're going. I just think that, like, the other thing about showing that scene would have been setting up that why Thrawn is such a big threat, in a way that this show just keeps saying that he's coming and he's a bad man. Yeah. And I understand that, right? Like, I have the context for that. I've read the books. I've seen the shows. I get it. Thrawn is evil. Not evil, but he's complicated. But he's a very complicated but antagonistic character in the series. And he's so brilliant that him coming back is that dangerous. And the audience who hasn't seen Rebels or read the books, or has only read the Timothy Zahn books and doesn't know this version of the character because he is different somewhat, right? You're doing a disservice to them by being like, it's going to be bad when Thrawn shows up. And they're like, why? Why is one guy... They have an army. Like, who cares if one guy shows up? And if they had set up, I think in the first episode, just by showing the final Battle of the Fall in live action, you could have had the audience be like, oh, that man's a bad man. It would be very bad if that bad man shows up. Yeah. And it just would have tied the Pergles in. It would have set the show up better in a way that I don't think the first episode of the show really does.
Yep, I agree.
Because it's mostly just like, oh man, Ezra's been gone for 15 years and we're still sad about it. And you're like, okay.
Yeah.
What have you been doing for 15 years? Like, where have you been? Where did, it's sort of like a weird, having to put the original trilogy in between these things, I think has made this show weirder. Because these characters, the Rebels ends with them being like, we're going to go find Ezra. And then 15 years has to pass because of the reality of where Rebels takes place. Yeah. And Rebels ending so close to the Battle of Yavin. And then having this like weird period after where we did Mandalorian, and Ahsoka has to take place after Mandalorian. And so it's not even like the Battle of Endor happens and then Ahsoka happens. There's this weird like 10-ish year period. Yeah. And so Ahsoka's like, it's been 15 years. Like, Sabine has lived as much life after Ezra left as she did before she met Ezra. Yeah. And so it's this weird period where, like, Sabine's, like, 30.
Yeah. Like, what has her life been? What is... Yeah.
And, like, she's still getting commemorated for the Battle of the Thal, like, 15 years later. Like, there's just some, like, weird timeline.
And she still has these weird hang-ups about not showing up for it and kind of being, like... Yeah.
Maybe it's, like, 12 years, but it's a significant amount of time.
It's at least a decade.
At least. It has to be, because... Mandalorian season 1 is 5 years, and then there's a year. There's 5 years during the original trilogy, right? And then there's a year between Mandalorian season 1 and season 2, and then there's another year between. Then Grogu is with Luke for a year.
Oh yeah.
Off screen,
right?
So there's at least 12 years. So Sabine is like 27, 28. Like, she's an adult. Yeah. It's just that part of the show, the scale of that, I don't think the show has done a good job showing to us. Yeah. And... Because
I don't think it services the story they're trying to tell.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Because the way that these characters are behaving, you're like, wait, she's like 30? You know what I mean? Like,
because Sabine feels like it is Sabine feels like it is like a month after Rebels.
Yes.
But Ahsoka feels like it's been 10 years.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
and so they're just
kind
of not talking about it because it doesn't really help them.
Yeah, because Ahsoka's like 45.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And people are like, why isn't she moving as fast? And I'm like, because she's 45.
Yeah.
She's an old lady. Anakin this episode, he's like, you look old.
Yeah. Also, I kind of understand now why they de-aged him for this.
I thought it looked much better in this episode than it did in the last episode.
Yeah, my question last time was, I was like, why did they not de-age him in Obi-Wan, but then they de-aged him in this? And now, because of the journey that we took, I understand.
He also looks really good in that Clone Wars armor. We should talk about Hayden Christensen more. He was great in this episode.
He's so good. His, like, face, like, his... He's incredible. Please, I want to see him in more stuff. Hayden Christensen, can you do more stuff?
It's so weird that his career just sort of like disappeared. Because
he's like, I'm good.
He got so much shit for Attack of the Clones. And I think he's a lot better. And not him. I think he's a very good actor. I think that George Lucas's directing loosened up a little bit for Revenge of the Sith and allowed Hayden Christensen to deliver a much better performance.
Yeah.
Whereas in Attack of the Clones, I feel like there was a little bit of like... No, and not even like headbutting. I think that George Lucas was very meticulous about what he wanted Attack of the Clones to be. This is just based on the documentaries and the behind-the-scenes stuff that I've seen. He wanted a very particular cadence and style to that movie that I think harms that movie more than it helps it.
Yeah.
And there's so much stuff in Attack of the Clones that I love on the Obi-Wan side, and there's so much on the Anakin Padme side that I really struggle with.
Yep, 100%.
Even now, like all these years later. And I think that Hayden Christensen took a lot of flack for being really good at listening to George.
Yep.
And because like even Jumper, which is not a great movie, I think Hayden Christensen is really charismatic in, and he leads that movie very well, right? And I really like Jumper because I like Hayden Christensen's performance in it.
Yeah.
And I just think that I'm hoping that we see him in something big soon. You know, like there's all these actors having... Brendan Fraser had his like... less so because they fucking canned Batgirl. But, you know, with Whale and Doom Patrol, Brendan Fraser's having this moment. I would love to see Hayden Christensen have his moment because when he smiles on screen, it lights up the scene.
That was fantastic.
He really has so much warmth.
Good. I was blown away. Blown away at all the like little... Everything that you could read in his face. He, like, despite the CGI. Like, I was like, oh, I hope it doesn't look a little, like, flat. No, he crushed it. Whatever he did, fucking crushed it.
And this episode is such a great example of how talented he is because there's, like, 5 versions of Anakin in this episode.
Yeah.
And he morphs between them so seamlessly.
Yeah.
Like, he brought it so hard. I also really like the young Ahsoka actress.
Oh my god, she was fantastic.
She was very emotional.
Holy shit.
That moment sitting with the clone, like, there's no dialogue there, but I thought she brought, like, a lot of depth into that, like, handhold.
Yeah.
Which can be really hard to do.
The one thing that, like, I thought kind of, I don't know, felt a bit out of nowhere, and maybe it was just because I binged Clone Wars, and so I missed some of the smaller scenes, but I, like, I don't remember Ahsoka being... like arguing with Anakin about being soldiers ever. Like she never really seemed like she had that much of a problem with it. Like she has a problem with the Jedi when the Jedi fuck her over and she gets accused wrongfully of oh my god, I can't even remember what happened.
Of blowing up the Jedi Temple.
Right. And it's that other girl. Anyways, the Jedi Temple, that's what it was. She's like wrongfully accused, and then they're like, oh, we were wrong, and she was like, yeah, bye. But other than that, like, I don't really remember any moments of her and Anakin kind of butting heads about her training as a soldier.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely moments. I hear what you're saying. I think that it's there in the books. Like, there's a really interesting moment in
I haven't read them.
There's a really interesting moment in Brotherhood, Mike Chen's book that we read.
Oh, yeah.
When they first start talking about training the Padawans as soldiers. And a lot of the Jedi are very uncomfortable with the idea of it.
Yeah, but Ahsoka's not there for that.
No, but I just mean that, like, there is that sentiment among the Jedi in general.
Okay.
That there is, like, there's a like, hey, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
You know, and there's a bunch of Jedi that leave over this, right? Not on screen, because Clone Wars was telling a very different story and was trying to be fun. And Clone Wars kind of had this weird position of having to...
Be a fun war show.
Be a fun war show that also
got less
like
fun.
Didn't feel like the prequels because there was so much angst and anger about the prequels at the time.
Yeah.
And the initial launch of Clone Wars was met with such derision by the fan base. Like the movie was so like derided, right? And so I think that if Ahsoka had been more of that, she would have taken more flack than she already did in season 1. And so I think they made her more fun in the show to try and like combat some of the complaints that the earlier seasons got.
Probably.
But no, I hear what you're saying. I don't necessarily disagree with you. I think that this is a moment that we didn't see in the Clone Wars. Yeah. And so it's just fleshing out the character, making her more deep.
I was just like, and maybe I'm misremembering.
That is also adult Ahsoka. That, like, she's in that body. She is experiencing that moment with the memories of the future, right? Because in the Mandalorian siege, her and Anakin are there talking about how he wasn't there for that fight, but it is her younger body. So it is actually older Ahsoka in younger Ahsoka's body in the Clone Wars, remarking on what she's experiencing in the Clone Wars
But she's
with
talking
more
about
perspective.
it as though it's happening now.
But because it's both. Right? It is both happening now to her in the moment, and also she has her perspective of her longer life.
Okay. I wish...
So I think it is a different character than the one you've seen in Clone Wars.
Okay. I wish that the dialogue had been tweaked, like, a little bit. Like, why were we training... talking a little bit more in the past tense, because at certain points it felt like it was present.
I think that that's intentional. I think it's like a very intentional choice to say that, like, in the world between worlds, there is no time, right? All of Star Wars...
If you say so.
The idea behind the space is that all of Star Wars takes place within the same moment in the world between worlds. So everything is happening concurrently.
Okay.
And so it's like the TVA from Loki, right? Oh, do you want... That's a package. We run and grab it? I'll end the video. Guys, that's the end of the video. I think it's like the TVA. It's cool. I enjoyed it. Clarus, a little bit less so, but I think you still enjoy it. You still like it a little bit? Yeah. So that's going to be our review. I like the show a lot. This episode did a lot for me. And Hayden, you're the best boy, and it's good to have you back. You fucking crushed it. I love it when you smile on screen, my dude. If you like this video, like and subscribe to the channel. If you don't, hit the dislike button. Leave mean comments down below, because the algorithm god is hungry, and we must feed her. This episode, the algorithm goddess is... young Ahsoka. That actress was very good, and I'm really on board with what they did here. I think this was by far the best episode yet. If you want to follow us around the internet, you can. I'm at Nerdy Nightly. I'm at Clarus Polaris. At Clarus Polaris. Here she is. May the Force be with you, y'all.
Bye, guys.